Okay, we have a quadratic function here, y equals x squared plus 4x minus 12, which represents a dolphin's dive as it swims towards and away from your research vessel. So you can think of it, if we're going to draw a picture, of a simple graph where your boat might be at the origin here. Okay, and then the dolphin is basically coming toward you, and then it dives and resurfaces. Okay, so it is a quadratic function that's basically defining how the dolphin swims as it goes underwater. It says the x-axis represents the distance the dolphin is from the boat, and the negative y-axis, which is below water, represents the depth of the dolphin's dive. Factor the quadratic to find the distance the dolphin is from your boat when it begins to dive. Okay, so that's the negative case. All right, well, first, to factor a quadratic, you need to check the a, b, and c. So in this case, let's pull the a, b, and c from our quadratic. The a, in this case, is just a 1, because there's no number in front of the x squared. The b is 4, and it looks like the c is negative 12. Okay, if the a is 1, then we can actually just factor this very simply. If it's not 1, you can't jump right into this. You'll have to get it to 1 or factor out a negative or something like that. But since it's 1, we can go ahead and do the simple case. So in this simple case, you basically just look at your b and the c. To factor, we basically want x plus or minus something times x plus or minus something, right? Since the number at the end is negative 12, if you remember how to double distribute or FOIL when you multiply, basically how you multiply the factors together, you'll know that the negative 12 is what you get when you multiply those numbers together. Okay, so the negative 12, they should multiply to negative 12, your two factors. And then the other thing to consider is the plus 4, your b. They need to add up to positive 4. Okay, so we're looking for two numbers, any two numbers, that multiply to negative 12 and add up to 4. Okay, well, the first thing you might know is that when you have a negative number as your product, that means one of your two numbers has to be negative. So I'm going to put x plus in my first one and x minus on the second one. I know one of my numbers has to be negative because a positive times a negative is the only way you're going to get to a negative, like negative 12. Okay, and now let's think, what are some numbers that multiply to 12 in general? Well, 3 and 4 multiply to 12, 1 and 12 multiply to 12, 2 and 6 multiply to 12. Anything else I can think of? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I think that's it. So now, of these, which of these would add up to 4? Now you check the other thing. Which of these might add up to 4? Well, remember, one of these is going to be negative, though. So 3 and 4, no, I don't think that's going to work. 1 and 12, those are too far apart. 2 and 6, that actually works out really well because 6 minus 2 is 4. So that's what we're going to go with here. Now you need to determine which of these is going to be the negative. Well, since we want a positive 4, we want the bigger number to be positive. So x plus 6 and x minus 2, because when 6 subtracts that 2, we do get the positive 4 here. Okay, so this is the complete factorization of that quadratic function. The very last step here is to figure out how far the dolphin is from your boat when it begins to dive. Well, let's sketch that graph again. If here's my boat, it's going to dive under the boat basically. So there's 2 points. One is going to be a negative x, negative, and one is going to be a positive x-intercept. Okay, luckily for us, this factorization might look familiar. It is already in intercept form. It's x minus p times x minus q. So I can say, well, the q is already very apparent right here. It's already in x minus form. So I can write q equals 2. Well, that doesn't help me because that's the positive version. That would probably be this one. So in that point would be 2, 0. I need the negative version. So let's go ahead and find that p. Well, in this case, it's x plus 6. So I can't just pull the 6 out. I have to pull that plus with it because it should be x minus p. And remember, x plus 6 is the same as writing x minus negative 6. Okay, so in this case, our p is negative 6, which gives us our point down here at negative 6 comma 0 right there. So they want to know how far the dolphin is from your boat. It would just be negative 6 right here.